we see to.
She's supposed to, okay.
Yes, yeah. Just go. To go in, Jorge. And then not.
She's on her way.
Honestly. No. What happened? Oh, should I let them know?
Yeah.
Can we get started?
Sure.
Thank you.
Supreme Court.
Okay, welcome. This meeting is called to order. Thank you for joining us today, Thursday, November 20th. This is the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. My name is Johan Hunter, and we welcome you for joining us today. First thing we're going to have is our native land acknowledgement read by Karen.
In keeping with our values of equity and inclusion and to support those who experience marginalization, this evening's meeting will begin with a Native American land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the ancestral homelands of the Namkeg and Agawam people. To honor the Namkeg and Agawam communities, along with any other Indigenous peoples who inhabited these lands, now known as Danvers, Massachusetts, and who may be lost to history, let us take a moment to recognize the past, present, and future of Indigenous peoples and reflect on our roles within settler colonialism. We acknowledge these ancestral grounds we have collectively gathered upon and support the resilience and strength that Indigenous people have shown worldwide.
Thank you. And we are going to approve our minutes from October. If everyone would have been able to receive them via email. Does anybody have any questions or corrections for the October minutes? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it carries. So now we're going to move towards our citizens' query. We're so thankful for the visitors that we have today. And we do have one of our citizens already set up to do slides. So I think it makes sense for us to start with the slides. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank the committee for inviting me to speak tonight. My name is Grace Burnett. I'm a freshman at Danvers High School. I play softball, and I'm a competitive dancer at the Dance Center of Danvers. I've been running a food drive called Grace Gives Back since I was 4. My first year, it was just to see if we could get a few donations to give to the Danvers People to People Food Pantry. But as the years went by, it became this huge thing. It has truly opened so many doors for me to help people and get to know the incredible people in our community. I've created relationships with people I never would have known thanks to this drive. Over the years, I've collected over 20,000 items and more than 10,000 in these past few years alone, which amount to thousands and thousands of dollars in food and other necessities. We get the majority of our donations through our Amazon wish list that we created so that people can just send things directly to our house. The amount of Amazon boxes we've had on our front porch for these past few months has been absurd. But we also get a lot of hand-delivered donations to our collection bin, too. This was my 10th year running the drive, and truly the most incredible yet. We were able to collect 6,156 items to donate this year, surpassing my goal of 4,000. This was so important during this time, especially with SNAP benefits being cut. Countless families are not getting access to basic human necessities and are just struggling to put a meal on the table every day. My goal is just to make their lives just a little bit better if I can, and if that means just putting one snack that they love on the shelves of the pantry or a drink they haven't had in a long time because of not being able to fit it in the budget. If it's just one thing that gives a bright spot to their day, that will make everything worth it. This year especially, I've had so many donations come from loved ones, friends, neighbors, and even people I've never met before that spent their hard-earned money just to try and support me and the dozens of families that use the pantry. I am truly grateful and blessed to be in the position I am right now, having the means and opportunity to give back and be able to continue this drive every year because of the immense support I endure. I don't do this drive for the community service hours or for the praise of people around me. I do it for the community, for the families who need help and can't help themselves, for the smiles on people's faces when I drop off a load of food, for that warm and happy feeling that I get when I realize how many people I've actually helped. And if you take anything out of my speech, I encourage you to make a donation to the pantry, take a volunteer shift, spread the word about my drive, and do one act to give back to the families in need, no matter how small. One simple word, sentence, comment, or action can make someone who uses the pantry's day 10 times better than it was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there information for donations that you can share with us where we can send the donations or like an email?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page called Grace Gives Back, and that gives you all the information. It gives you the link to the Amazon, which has all the food that you can donate. You can donate just whatever food you want. Also, it has my address, so you can drop off food as an email that you can ask us questions. Just everything, all the information you need is on there.
Okay. And we thank you so much for what you're doing. As you know, food insecurity is unfortunately not getting better, it's getting worse. So for you to have had the foresight to just dedicate your time to that, we greatly appreciate it. And we love these beautiful pictures of you and your friends and whomever the volunteers are just helping. So it's a huge need, and we greatly appreciate what you're doing to chip away at it. Does anybody else on the committee want to make any comments?
You're incredibly awesome. You really, really are. I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm thinking, you said you're a freshman?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to hold on to the next few years that we still have you in town, but you may spread your wings and go off to college. And I'm wondering, do you have anybody, friends that are working with you or folks that have been working with you for a few years who When you do kind of spread your wings out of Danvers, do you have some folks in mind that might be able to carry this on when you're not in town?
A lot of my family, my mom especially, and my sister could do it probably.
Yeah.
A few of my friends always help me out with, like, bringing the food into the pantry, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely find somebody that can
I think
keep on the
it's
tradition.
great. You're a leader. You're a leader in this community.
Thank you.
You're a leader.
Go ahead, Paul. Yeah.
I'm not good at shopping. But I'm good at writing checks. So is there a way that myself or anyone would like to donate financial support? Do you accept financial support?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, good.
I can answer that question. I'm Paul Brown. I'm a board member of the Danvers Community Council and the treasurer.
Oh, Paul, would you mind going to the microphone? Thank you so much.
The council actually owns. Microphone.
To the mic, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How are the people at home?
The council actually owns the People Food Pantry.
Okay.
If you want to make a donation, you could, quite frankly, write a check out to the Danvers Community Council or to the People Food Pantry. Send it to Post Office Box 2076 in Danvers, Mass. And we'll be sure to use the funds properly.
Thank you.
Food donations, Grace, and others, always more than welcome. I'm gonna sit down. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Is anybody else from the committee? Go ahead.
So I'd just like to say just a few quick words. So thank you very much, Grace, for your heroic work that you're doing and not only bringing food to people, but bringing recognition to the fact that there are people in our society who are struggling. And the only way that they're going to be able to survive and get on to the next stages in their life is if people reach out to them and provide support, which is exactly what you're doing. So I'd like to quote the famous, distinguished, internationally recognized author, John Meacham, who says that empathy is the oxygen of democracy. Empathy is the oxygen of democracy. And it's so encouraging to see a young generation such as you stepping forward and letting people in Danvers and the people around the state of Massachusetts and beyond recognize that we have young people who recognize that support and empathy with those less well-off than ourselves can make all the difference in someone's life. So thank you very much for your great work, and we wish you all the best as you go forward.
If I may, Grace, 10 years is a long time. And takes a lot of dedication and drive to do what you do. So obviously, we will never be thankful enough for what you did and what you continue doing as you progress along, obviously. And once again, though, it is refreshing to see a young person in our town with the drive to improve our community, with everyday lives. Because as Johan said, food insecurity, it's a big issue nowadays. And, going to bed hungry, it's not okay, Food is not a privilege, it's a right. We all know that. So thank you very, very much for what you do. Thank you for coming tonight. Very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other citizens' queries in any order at all? You're welcome.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Marasegan. I am the current delegate for United at Danvers High School, which is the current Human Rights Committee there, student-led, and I am here with my two other representatives, John Reardon and Blake Fagone. We're here today because we wanted to kind of just introduce ourselves to the Human Rights and Inclusions Committee here at Danvers, because we created our club to kind of be the advocacy of the students here at Danvers High, because we feel as if so many students at Danvers High don't know how to advocate for themselves, and even though that they have such ideas and such passions and such vigor that they want to represent and present to the world and to help other people, they don't have a place and they don't have people currently, we are working with Right for Rights, the International Amnesty Group, to try to help people who are wrongly imprisoned or wrongly killed because their human rights were stripped away from them. And we are currently working with them to try to advocate and write letters to their families to talk about our condolences and to attempt to free the people who are wrongfully imprisoned. And I'm so glad to be here today, and hopefully in the future, our committee can be working directly with this committee here and the people here and the government body of Danvers to help orchestrate community events, to help promote for advocacy and promote for more inclusion and equality and human rights within our great town of ours. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you give me your name one more time?
Kevin Marasigan.
Kevin. We will talk about it a little bit later, I'm sure, but I'm not sure if you're aware that there is a grant out that our committee is hosting. Depending on what type of work you're doing, if it aligns with the work of our committee, there could be some grant monies that you guys are eligible for. So if you don't have a contact with the committee, we'll definitely make sure you get that information, because we do want to support the next generation to continue doing this work. And we know that it's a ripple effect. It's not just the people up here. So we thank you for that. Does anyone else from the committee want to say anything?
I just can't believe this is very timely, and I think it's upsetting what we see happening throughout the country, and I certainly hope that the committee would move in any way we can to support this group at the high school. It's tremendous work being done, not at a young age. All of you are adults to some extent, I guess, but this is just fabulous. Fabulous that you're doing it, and I think it's a message that you're sending to not only the people of Danvers, but to the greater North Shore, all the other communities around us. And thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Kevin, thank you very much for coming in tonight. And what you guys do, it's very important, you know. One thing is bringing awareness, but another thing, different thing will be taking action. And you are taking action. You and your classmates taking action. And it's very important to do the work at your age, you know, because like Paul said, the times that we're going through right now, they are unlike anything else we've seen before. And the younger that we can basically open minds and point folks to the right way, it's the better way to do it. So thank you very much for coming in tonight as well. And I'm sure that we'll collaborate in the future. I'm pretty confident we'll see a way to work together. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
As I mentioned before, my name is Paul Brown, and I'm on the board of the Danvers Community Council, and I was asked to come here to speak a little bit about the organization that Grace has been so kind to support all these years. In fact, if I recall, Grace, I was there the first drop that you made. Dad, your mom lifted you up and put you on top of the food in the blue bin. It's not happening anymore, Grace. In fact, I think you pushed us aside last week and said, we'll take care of this. So that's great. But I did want to give a little bit of information on the food pantry. Hopefully provide some insight, not only for you, but for Grace. Some things she may not realize. A little bit of the history of the food pantry. And I won't take up a lot of time, I promise. I could go on for quite some time. But the food pantry has actually been in place for over 30 years. It was the vision of 3 board members at that time, Barbara Raymond, Ellie Hersey, and Paula Gates. And I mention them because without their vision at the time, the pantry would not exist. Quite frankly, Barbara Raymond ran the pantry for over 25 years. In some cases, you could say she dedicated her life to the pantry. Her presence is still felt every time she walks through the door. You know Barbara is there. An incredible woman, 25 years. Today, pantry remains, it was always an all-volunteer organization. Today it remains the same. We have over 35 volunteers that operate the pantry. Many of the volunteers were there when Barbara started it. I would say the average age is probably 70, high 70s, early 80s. We have 3 volunteers that are in their 90s. All 3 are active and they're in the pantry every Tuesday and Thursday. It's an incredible group. I'm not going to list every name. You don't need to know that. As far as the people we serve, our clients, we started the year with 473 registered families. That's not to say all 473 families shop every week or every month. They come when they need the food. As I stand here today, as of November, we now have over 600 families registered at the pantry. That represents 1,400 individuals. We're talking over 300 seniors, close to 400 children, and we can go through all the numbers. They're an incredible group of people. They come when they need the food. We included in those numbers are homeless. And I'm not talking folks that live in hotels. We support those folks as well. But we have at least 3 families in the town of Danvers living in cars, and they all come to the pantry. I've gotten to know many of them. All good people, and Grace, what you provide them is just incredible. As far as the food, each month we provide over 15,000 pounds of food to the folks. How do we get the food? It's through the generosity of this community. Without the volunteers, there's no pantry. Without this community, the individuals, the businesses, the churches, the organizations, the funds they provide, without that, there's no pantry. So financially, that's what puts a lot of the food on the table. 50% of the food that we purchase comes from the, 50% of the food we provide comes from the Greater Boston Food Bank. For every dollar we receive in donations, that can turn into $3 when we buy through the Greater Boston Food Bank. So a lot of people ask, do you want cash, do you want food? We need both. I can do a lot with the cash. The food that's donated is quite often things that I say we cannot get through the Greater Boston Food Bank. Let's see. The savings we've received from the food bank, we've been members for probably only 7 years, but the savings we receive is well over $100,000 each year. Let's see. By the end of the year, I mentioned we have 600. By the end of the year, my guess is we'll have another 50 families added to the rolls before the end of the year. The numbers change every single day. I could go on with a list of all of our donors. I mentioned there's large corporations. I'm not going to go into that. We don't have the time. I do want to mention partners. When I refer to partners, it's folks who support the pantry, possibly not through financial, but in other means, such as Grace, with the food that she donates. Town of Danvers. We are not part of the town of Danvers. A lot of people believe we are a department. We are not. But the town has been an incredible resource for us. They have supported us for 30 years through providing space for the building. If it weren't for the town, the pantry wouldn't exist. Wayne Markey was a huge supporter of the pantry. And the current manager, Jill, has already been over and met with the board of directors. And very much appreciate her support there. Again, every organization in town, many of the churches, all of the schools, every department of the town supports the pantry. Just the other day, the police department held a food drive for us. They pulled up in a trailer. 6 officers and the chief spent over an hour helping us unload the donations and bringing them, quite frankly, up to the second floor. Haven't had to use the second floor for storage since the pandemic. Stop and Shop, I need to mention them. We buy a lot of produce. We're spending over $1,000 a week on produce through Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop gives us a discount on that. But in addition to that, every Tuesday and Thursday, we have 2 CRVs goes to Stop and Shop, and they fill both of those cars with donations. It could be fruit, could be vegetables, meat, you name it. But they come back, and every single day there's over 500 pounds of donated items. So a shout out to the Stop and Shop. And again, I could go on. One other person I'd like to highlight, and that is Bill Guiney of Danvers Ford. We do not own a truck. So the Greater Boston Food Bank will deliver the first Monday of every month 4,000 pounds, 4,500 pounds of food directly to the pantry. The third Thursday of each month, we get 3,000 pounds of food, but they deliver that to Salem. Bill Guiney and Danvers Ford have provided a driver and a truck for over 4 years, every single month, without fail. So I give them a lot of credit. And I will say Bob Moore from Moore GMC, many years before that, he was doing that. And I'll guarantee you if I call Bob right now, he would be there. He would be at the pantry. So gives you an idea of how many people we're serving. Again, I've got a presentation that can go into a lot of details. I'd be glad to answer as many questions as you may have or whatever. One thing Louis asked me to try to sum up is what I believe the pantry means to the community. And I know what it means to me. I think you all know what it means to Grace. But I think the best way that I can put it is share a note we received a week ago. The kindness and dedication you show the Danvers community over the years reminds me that compassion truly endures. Please know how much work matters. Your work matters. You don't feed families, you provide hope. And that's my message to Grace tonight. You provide not only to our families, but to me, knowing that there's young folks like you coming into our community. So I will cut it off at that. If you have any questions, more than willing to answer. I will say, we live in a great community. And you mentioned the SNAP, the outpouring of support, simply incredible. It's just amazing. So.
Thank you, Paul. Can I ask you a question before you go? I was curious, you said almost 200 additional families. Around about when did that happen? Did that happen when the benefits were going to be cut, or was it just?
Actually, it's throughout the year.
Okay.
Since the benefits were cut, many of our folks are on SNAP as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Many don't come to the pantry because of that. So when the SNAP was cut off, they started to come again. I would say since October, we've added probably 30 families.
Mm.
Today alone, we added 5 more families, and we had another 5 that have come for the first time this year. It's, like I say, the numbers change every single day. The need is there. So I appreciate everything this community has done. The board does, the volunteers do, and folks like Grace, I don't know words.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Would all the families be Danvers residents, or are people coming from other communities as well?
That is a good question. The People Food Pantry serves Danvers residents only. Quite frankly, if someone from Salem or Beverly were to enter the door, they will not go home without food. But we will direct them to the appropriate places.
Mm-hmm.
We're a unique pantry. Like I say, we're all volunteer. A lot of the pantries around have a little grocery store, but quite frankly, we offer all sorts of canned goods. Folks didn't realize it. It's probably 7 years ago we started with the produce. As I mentioned, we're spending over $1,000 a week just on fresh produce. Eggs, cheese, protein, we try to have chicken, fish, all sorts of beef with the help from Stop and Shop. We have pork. It just goes on and on. It's an incredible, for me, it's an incredible organization. And I have to go back to the founders. Barbara is the heart and soul of the pantry. Had been for years. Any other questions?
Does anyone from the committee want to ask any questions or make any comments?
I did have a question. Is there any sort of advice you can give to the folks who need the food pantry as far as how to maximize their benefits? Like what to do first, or like you said, a SNAP. Some folks on a SNAP, they don't usually go to the pantry. But it's SNAP, if I'm not mistaken, it is you can roll it over. So you have any advice on how to maximize those benefits?
SNAP benefits?
Well, the overall benefits and how to basically take the most advantage of the food pantry.
I'm not so sure I have advice on that. We encourage people to come. We encourage them to take the healthy items. We try to, there's a lot of things people need that they can't get through SNAP. We offer that. Whether it be diapers for children, toiletries, paper goods, adult products. Pretty much carried it all, and if we don't have what people need, we try to get it for them. Ensure, Lucerne, Boost. We have a lot of elderly people that need that. And quite frankly, if they're in need, they're going to get it. I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
No, you are. Thank you, Paul. Yes, you are. Thank you.
As you can tell, I get pretty emotional about this whole thing.
I was just curious. You mentioned the diapers. Is there formula there too?
We have, in some cases, we have formula, yeah. We have, actually, there's a group that has been, just started collecting baby infant products. Dog food, cat food, we have it all.
That's awesome. Thank you. Did you want to say something, Paul?
Just quickly, thank you for everything, but you're still located in the same spot, right?
We are located right
Across the street, yeah.
12 Sylvan Street. It's the old town senior center. At one time, we had the entire building, and at one time, we had food on every floor of that building. Since the credit union moved in, resources have been constricted. But I thought it was going to have a major impact. It has not. I mean, the town's been very supportive in helping us out and finding places for us. In fact, and I'm going to stop. You've got a time constraint. But throughout this whole crisis, I came into the pantry one day, and when it first started, there was 30 phone calls. And I'm thinking, holy mackerel, we're in trouble. 80% of them was, how do we donate? How do we volunteer? Where do we send the money? Absolutely unbelievable, and it hasn't stopped. Talk about the town. I've heard from folks from the schools, the cafeterias. They're offering refrigeration. If you need freezer space, we'll provide a truck. We've got a refrigeration truck. We'll come and get it. We'll bring it when you need it. I mean, this town has been incredible. I gotta stop talking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other citizens that want to speak?
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Alphonse Wright. I am not a Danvers resident. I'm sorry. I am from Salem. But I do want to follow up on Committee Member Velasquez's question on how to maximize benefits for SNAP. In addition to utilizing wonderful organizations like pantries, there's something called the Healthy Incentives Program. For SNAP users, if they are SNAP users, they are automatically enrolled. What it does is you can use your SNAP benefits to buy fresh produce. And as long as you have that balance on your SNAP card, I believe it's up to $40 to $60 a month, that will be reimbursed to your SNAP card. So say you buy $15 worth of produce, that as long as that balance is on your SNAP card, that money will be reimbursed to your SNAP card as long as it's a participator of the Healthy Incentive Program. And unfortunately, the Healthy Incentive balance does not roll over every month, but it is $40 to $60 every month that you can use for fresh produce. So one of the strategies is to maintain about $30 at the end, if you can. I know it's insane times right now. Maintain $30 of balance on your SNAP card, and that way you can, at the end of the month, if you haven't used it, get some produce. $40 of produce is pretty decent, and then the next month that amount renews. So it's one of the ways to maximize SNAP benefits. Sorry, I wanted to answer that question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Funds.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Madam Chair, so I could come and speak here today. You all know me. My name is Shilpa Jacoby, and I'm a former member and co-vice chair of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, and I live and work in the town of Danvers. I know this committee has made great strides in the events we do to bring people together and make this town welcoming and give people a sense of belonging. But I think we need to go further in holding our elected and appointed officials accountable for their actions and their lack thereof when it comes to pushing back against inequitable systems in our town. As someone from the global majority who lives and works in this town and who definitely cannot pass, my experience working for this town has been far from positive. Standing up for myself has led to people in positions of power and privilege creating or believing a certain narrative about me, that I am a troublemaker, a complainer, and a snitch. Even though I have shared my story privately with those who have the power to make change in this town, it has gone unheard. I hope that speaking here today will compel those who claim to be allies to question and push back against inequitable systems and the people who uphold them and hold them accountable. Over a year ago, I had spoken at a library trustee meeting about the lack of support from library management during a particularly difficult program where library staff was being targeted with hate comments online. Shortly after that, I was informed by HR and the then DEI director that there was a target on my back and that I needed to be careful. Apparently, after I had spoken at the trustee meeting, library administration had spoken to town management claiming they were concerned about my behavior because of things that were happening in my home. Please note, this information was received secondhand, so it is not a direct quote, and I am open to clarification. But also note that people in positions of privilege have used their power to define my reputation by controlling the conversation. A mediator, Kiana Baskin, was hired by the town after that, who spoke to me and library management separately. After the mediation was completed, I did not receive a written report or feedback from the town. The mediator, however, informed me that she found systemic issues that needed to be addressed and that she was going to let the assistant town manager know that there needed to be some intense training on cultural competence. That was over a year ago, and no such training has occurred. In March of this year, I submitted a harassment report with evidence attacking my professionalism and constant put-downs at work. Library management alluded to there being a mediation again of some kind. However, the assistant town manager hired a legal investigator in May to handle this issue. I would like to read for you some excerpts from the report that was compiled by the legal investigator about my harassment claims. Here's the first quote. Although calling a colleague truculent or pugnacious is certainly impolite, There is no evidence that these terms implicated your membership in a protected category, and therefore they do not constitute harassment. Now, in my harassment claim, I provided evidence of a coworker challenging my professionalism, telling me that they were relieved that I did not come to certain parts of the building anymore, making me feel unwelcomed and excluded, or have the freedom to move about my place of work. The investigator put this down to me being uncomfortable due to interpersonal conflict, and claimed that even if such encounters are intimidating, they did not constitute harassment. And I'd like to read for you another quote, another excerpt from the report. Please note that I found your concerns to be genuine, and that I also found the staff and administration to be genuinely concerned about your comfort in the workplace. While the concerns raised do not amount to harassment or discrimination, it is my understanding that the town and your institution is currently working to schedule additional staff training to improve communication going forward for the benefit of all parties. My report was filed in March. The investigation began in May, and the completed investigative report was received in July. It is now November, and again, there isn't even a whisper of any kind of training, nor has the administration at my institution made check-ins with me. Were any of these actions by coworkers and library administration against the law? Maybe not. But they did cause and continue to cause daily harm to my work life. To quote the Workplace Psychological Safety Act, workplace abuse is exhausting. It is emotional labor to detach ourselves from actions used to reinforce power. Lying, sabotage, and put-downs are tools of oppressors to reinforce their unearned power. I was also told that if other people spoke up, something more could be done. Some things affect some of us more than others. If others are not speaking up about what they believe to be wrong, then that's a privilege they have that I do not. Changing an inequitable system takes time. And unfortunately, one person from the global majority speaking up does not make it true until someone from the dominant group says the same thing. My story is not unique in this town, and I wanted to share it here today so that we can all reflect on our roles as human rights activists and how we hold those in power accountable. Are they truly engaged with the positions that they have been elected or appointed to uphold? Do they question the policies that they review and sign off on and how they affect the staff in various town institutions, especially people whom the system does not privilege? Do they question whose behaviors and norms define professionalism? Do they work towards removing rules that disproportionately exclude marginalized groups? Do they make sure that the leaders they are accountable for are trained to understand bias in expectations and norms? When you are developing strategic plans, who is at the table? Who is allowed to participate? Is the document an actual live document that is being used to foster inclusion and belonging, or does it merely just have the words? Follow up on stated actions for change and hold people accountable for them. I hope that those of you in elected or appointed positions who are also on this committee reflect on your role as human rights advocates. Is it only confined to this room, or does it apply to all aspects of your lives and other roles you play in our town? I love what I do, and many of you here can attest to my capability and my work ethic. I truly love my job. We all have the right to also feel safe in our workplaces. I would like to end with a quote from warrior feminist poet, civil rights activist, and fellow librarian Audre Lorde. When we speak, we're afraid our words will not be heard. But when we're silent, we're still afraid. So it is better to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa. I just want to thank you for sharing so openly, and just so that you know, no matter how others respond, you have a lived experience, and no one can take that away from you. So thank you again. Does anybody want to say anything? Anybody?
I've had the privilege of working with Shilpa, and I really feel bad because I just don't think I want to tolerate this type of behavior. I know I don't want to tolerate this type of behavior, and in my relationship with her, I found her to be honest, very honest. But my problem is with me now, because I was aware to some extent, but not what I heard today. And I'm disturbed about what I'm hearing today. And I don't think anybody should be subjected to that in the workplace. Doesn't matter whether, it matters. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter, but regardless of where you work or how you work or what your job is. And I'm frankly disappointed that we're in this situation. But it's probably wonderful that you got up and spoke today, because I'm not sure what this committee can do, but I'm sure we can open our mouths and do something. We're not here just to handle a microphone once a month. The work goes beyond that. And any time a person is subjugated to personal distress, bigotry, harassment, or anything else you want to add, I think it's unfair, totally unfair. Sometimes the words come out in the report, but they don't issue the report the right way. It's just words. That's all it is words. It's a camouflage. It's a put aside. And I believe, and I'm going to say it right now, even though I don't have all the information by any stretch of the imagination, that I believe when Shilpa makes a statement like this, there's truth to it. And it upsets me. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll see where we go. If we can go somewhere, we should, and I hope we can. Period. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else?
Yes, Shilpa, thank you very much once again for have the courage stepping up today. And you're right, speaking up is the best way. One thing that the community does, we don't stand for injustice, that is for sure. And we are, I am saddened that it's happened to you. And it saddens me the most that happens often to a lot of people in our community. Happened yesterday, happened today, it will happen tomorrow. And I guess one of the things that we all should do here is if we see it happening, speak up against it. And stop it if you can. But if you can't stop it, speak up against it. And it's not we the person who's being judged from, because there's nothing worse in this world than those who have the power to use it against those who don't in an evil manner. And I would never buy for that. So thank you for speaking up today. And be sure that we're going to speak against that as well. You know, like Paul said, we might not do a lot. And when we say we fight against it, it means that we're going to stand up and speak up against it. And make enough noise, talk enough people, whatever it might be, to make sure that it doesn't stop happening tomorrow. It will happen soon. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm a library trustee, as you know, and so what's disturbing about what I heard tonight is when remedial steps are taken or remedial structures are put in place to address concerns that have been raised, and we use the instruments of remediation, which are these instruments that are put in place to look into, investigate, and recommend specific actions that need to take to address the concerns that have been raised. It's disturbing when that happens and still we find ourselves back where we started in the beginning. So I empathize with what Paul, my colleague next to my right, has stated. I think that we have to go back and ask some questions again, whether or not these procedures are absolutely dealing with what we're asking them to deal with, and if they aren't, we're going to have to ask for other interventions that are going to get to the bottom of the concern that was expressed in this room tonight. I don't think that we're the only ones that are concerned by what you had to say. I think our listening audience is concerned. People in the room are nodding their heads in agreement with, as out of concern. So it's saddening to see people hurting and nothing being done about it. And I think that that's, as I stated earlier, empathy. If we're not connecting and relating to the sorrowness, the sorrow that you express with us tonight, if we don't feel that sorrow, then we're not participating in a full and engaged democracy that's concerned about all of our citizens. And I think we have to recognize that and use the tools that are at our disposal to do something about it. So we will ask the questions again.
Am I allowed to say something?
This is open.
Oh, yeah, she is, right? Yeah. Yes, you are.
And I apologize. That triggered my heart. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm a citizen. I've been here since 1995. I've seen it all, and I'm being honest with you. And maybe I needed to be here. And maybe I needed to hear that. Because for a while, I shadowed myself from coming in.
Take a moment.
Yep.
Take a
your
moment.
time.
I've dealt with a lot of incidents in this town. Walking into CVS, getting medicine, being followed up the street, the road, the corridors and everything else. I also have a son, an amazing son. Who's also my career. And there hasn't been a sport in this town where he just sits there and doesn't get the opportunity. And when I speak, here comes that Black Latina mother that advocates for her son. School, there's been comments, many, that thankfully I know who God is. And thankfully I've given grace to see change, but change did not come. Now, I've given him the opportunity to go to Danvers High. And there's been not a week that I've had peace to the point that I had to take a family medical leave because now it's triggering me. Today, an incident happened at the school. And I'm going to speak it very clearly. He's watching me. He sent me a picture. He's watching me. I didn't even know he was watching me. He texted me a picture and he said, I like that lady. He goes to the library. He said, I like that lady. Okay? And then I said, I'm going to be reaching out to Grace for volunteering. I do missionary stuff. With my family. We do it just from our house because that's just who we are. We work hard. I just want you guys to know that a lot of us that look like me are afraid to speak up. And it's because we don't want people to look at us like we're that angry person. I'm afraid my son to ride a bike in town. God forbid if I get a call. I'm afraid for him to go play basketball across the street just because of his beautiful color. I'm afraid if I tell every time he goes into the school that he gets bullied or he gets told comments and he snitches. Or that mom that he tells everything to and I go and advocate or I knock on the neighbor's door or whoever's house it is because I don't want these kids to have a record. I just want to, let's talk it out as parents. When are we going to have mentors? When are we going to hold each other's hands? When is the police just going to make a friendship with a kid? I'm not asking them to pay for anything for my son. I'm just asking you to just be human. Love thy neighbor. Do something at the school. Suspensions, that doesn't answer the issue. Ignoring a derogatory comment and not following up with a parent and keep ignoring it and holding them happy and bake sale, that doesn't answer. We need to do more. And I'm hurting. I think I've hit it. For me to stand here, I'm hurting. I'm hurting for my child, that I'm working to one day get a scholarship and go to college and be a nice man and be able to advocate for others. But when I feel like all the doors are being closed on me, and then I don't have the words, and everything just triggers me and I burst, now I'm looking like that angry person. When is it enough? And maybe these kids and the parents are watching, and they're going to speak to their kids, and then my son's going to get bullied again at school because I stood up here today. But that quote said something to me today. If I speak up or if I don't, are we doing something about it? And I'm sorry that I'm crying, but I'm tired. I'm tired. And I'm an amazing single mother.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm crying. I'm sorry this triggered me, but I had a rough day today. And that comment, and God works in a serious way, and that comment was for me. So hopefully we can come together. Thank you for everybody that's actually here, because if you're here, you obviously have purpose to have better opportunities for our kids and a better community. And I've been here since '95, and trust me, it's a lot different than when I started. But there's a lot of things that need addressed, because I didn't even have to deal with that growing up. So thank you.
Thank you.
For
What was?
hearing me out, and
Thank
for
you.
that.
What was your name again?
Henny's.
Hennis. Thank you so much. Thank you. Did anybody want to?
Johan? I don't know if that was recorded. I don't know what's going on with that
Oh,
screen.
that's just a screen for presentations. Our recording is over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Does anybody want to say anything?
Of course, yes. I will definitely like to say something. Denise, muchas gracias por venir hoy. Muchísimas gracias. Sadly, well, again, it happened yesterday, it happened today, it happened tomorrow. And while you were speaking, my mind was flooded. And if you don't mind, Madam Chair, I'd like to read the mission statement of the ARC once again. And basically, goes as follows: the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee is a cohesive task force against intolerance, bigotry, and oppression. HRIC partners with police, school administration, interfaith leaders, and several community partners on events and in discussions to create a positive atmosphere for an inclusive, multicultural community. We stand against hatred, and we support those who experience marginalization due to their age, gender, race, ethnicity, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, citizenship status, or socioeconomic status. So basically, we stand for those who often are left forgotten. We uplift those who cannot be uplifted. That's why we are here tonight. And Shilpa and Yanis, thank you very much, because you represent, for the most part, what we're here today. And it sounds like our community has their work cut out for us in the future, because again, whatever we can do, we will do. And one thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna speak against it. Every single day, every time. If you see somebody doing something that is not okay, say something. He's somebody basically accusing somebody else to doing whatever you say something. If you can stop it, fine, but you document it. And one thing that I want to say though, be prepared to be courageous, because what we're up against as a country, we're gonna need all the courage we can muster in the next few years. And we start tonight, everyone. We start tonight. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. Una vez más. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other citizens' updates? Okay. If the citizens' query portion of the meeting is adjourned, and so if anyone who doesn't want to stay for the rest of the business meeting, you're welcome to exit at this time if you choose. Thank you for coming.
What does the business end do?
Oh, you're welcome to stay and talk.
Stay.
You're welcome to stay. We'd love to have you.
Well, we feel the love.
Well, we're gonna be at the school tomorrow.
We got an agenda
We got an agenda. Just have to ask them what they're doing. What's the accountability for? But I've asked for these outside attorneys and outside consultants to come in to try to deal with their concerns. But they do the work and then they just say exactly what the, it's telling them to say, right? So they're not doing it. They're just going through the motions, but they're not doing it. I think we have to, I'm glad Dee was here to hear this.
So I think we will, wait a second. So we're gonna move to liaison updates. We have our select board liaison, Dee here. If you have anything that you'd like to share with us, you're welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Is this on? Can everyone
Yeah,
hear
we
me?
hear you.
Well, thank you. Apologies, I was late. I was at the River Committee, and they ran a little late.
Apologies, Dee. Is there a green light on your microphone?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, thank you.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity, and thanks for everyone that was here tonight. It's incredible to walk in and see 3 generations here, and also very happy to see the high school kids. I got a chance to speak to some of them yesterday, and it's really uplifting because, as I like to say, they may be only 1/3 of the population, but they're 100% of our future. So thank you. From the select board perspective, we continue to be committed to the work of this committee. During the meeting this past Monday, we approved all the requests that the committee had made for the different banners that you're going to be having for next year. So that's all and done. And I will be happy to take whatever information you have here back to the select board. I was also happy, and Paul is gone, for what I heard about the pantry here in town. Yes, we do have our work cut out for us, but I'm the ultimate optimist. It might sound cliche, but I told this to the kids yesterday. I wear this lapel pin of the starfish, and it reminds me of you making the difference in one person. You've made a difference, and it will take all of us, one person at a time. If you were here tonight, my advice is when you get home, talk to one person, and you probably will have made a difference in that person. So, but from the select board, we continue to be supportive of the work of this committee, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Next on our agenda, we have the MLK report update from Karen.
All right. This is timely. So this coming January will be Danvers' 27th year of celebrating the life of Martin Luther King. And a couple of years ago, we changed things up a little bit and wondered what could MLK stand for besides the man's name. And so we have been working with the theme the last few years of Move Like King. So we celebrate the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through hearing from a few of our neighbors and friends who are themselves moving like King in Danvers throughout the year, not just on that day. The event, again, we're planning committees hard at work. We got a breakfast meeting again tomorrow morning. And I'll just pause to say that we would love, if there's a community member or two who would still love to join this committee, we would love to have that. So feel free to speak to me afterwards if you're in the room now, or if you're watching this on DCAT, you can get in touch. So the event always features the artwork from Danvers Public School as well as music from Vocal Alliance. And there's always a children's and then a youth/adult engagement point. So it'll be 3 to 5 on the 19th. And just sort of in reflection of the conversation here this evening and the power of story, not just the power of sharing a story, but the power of sharing another story, and also the power of hearing the story. We cannot unhear, right? The question is, what are we going to do about it? And that is a question that Martin Luther King and people before and after have since asked us, and that we need to ask each other. And last Friday, during one of our committee meeting breakfasts, someone on our team who has lived in town for a while, and they said, you know, this town has potential, but there's a lot that's getting in the way of that potential. And while what we have been hearing and sitting with this evening in this room is heavy, there is also in some way in my heart a sense of kind of like the liberation that we can feel that is waiting for all of us when we begin to recognize each other and to share each other's stories and to share our own. So that's what this day is about. Well, it's what every day should be about, but we particularly really drive it home on January 19th. It's a coming together place, and it's a really great way to start off a new calendar year and to figure out how we can be living differently day to day in this town. So there'll be more updates. We'll be getting it out on social media, but we look forward to welcoming you all there.
Thank you, Karen. Next, we have our HRIC grant update by Dr. Desmond.
Thank you very much, and I'm so happy that we're following right on the heels of the MLK conversation, because part of what we're trying to do with the grant application process is to open the doors for the citizens of Danvers to recognize that they can speak for themselves about what they think diversity and equity and human rights representation is all about, that they can speak in their own voices about that and use the platform of the HRIC as a mechanism for doing that. So the grant application process that we established opened in October. It was going to close in November, but we've extended it to December 6th. Anyone in our listening audience or in the room here today, if you have ideas about things that you'd like to see done or that you'd like to do or you'd like to encourage others to do that resonate with the work of the HRIC, fill out an application and apply for a grant to get funding to do that. And we would be happy to see what it is that you would like to recommend that we present to the broader community about the work of the HRIC and the work of our citizens who also can speak for the work of the HRIC. My colleague, Dr. Sarah Gooddale O'Brien, unfortunately her son had an accident in school today, so she was at the doctor's tonight and was unable to join me here as well. But we are certainly encouraging everyone to participate. You can find the application materials on the town website or on the HRIC website. It's a very simple process, uncomplicated, not cumbersome at all. Just present good ideas and we'll be happy to review them. And myself and Paul and Sarah will be reviewing these documents and we'll be making some grants to support that work. I think it's going to be fun to see what folks have to say and to hear some other voices other than our own. We've said many times we're democratizing the work of the HRIC. We're pushing it out into the community and saying, let the people of Danvers speak for themselves on these issues. It's good that we're speaking. That's great. But we'd like to hear other voices. We'd like to hear actually what was said today, the quote, which was, you can speak or you cannot speak, but still the implications are real. So let's take the opportunity to speak and talk about what your experience has been like and why it matters and how it relates to the broader issues that we're all concerned about relative to our shared humanity. There's nothing more important than that. And then, the quote King talked about all the time is that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. It doesn't necessarily end in justice, but it leans towards justice. And we have to all put our shoulders and push towards justice. And that's what the grant application process is all about. So please review the materials and please apply.
Thank you. Where can individuals get that information if they don't already have access to it?
I think if they go to the town website and go to
Okay.
the HRIC, the grant application materials.
It should be shared on there.
Application process is there.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
very simple and uncomplicated.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have our menorah lighting update. So Danvers has our annual menorah lighting in acknowledgement of the Hanukkah celebration. We have gotten the date of December the 15th from our local rabbi who facilitates the festivities every year. We are looking for volunteers to light the menorah. On the weekends, I was told that the town staff could do it on our behalf, but it's during the week that the help is needed. So committee members and also citizens, if you're interested in signing up to show up for 5 minutes to, in theory, light the menorah, because it technically is a switch, we would love to have you. So if you're interested, definitely see me after the fact. Moving right along to new business, we had some updates from the Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition. So Karen, I don't know if you want to go ahead and share with that.
Just to say, Dr. Charlie, I'm not seeing that application on the website, but not to say it's not here, but on the HRIC page, I'm not seeing it. If anybody in the room would like the application, just feel free to come see me at the end of the meeting, and you can give me your email, and I'll just email it to you. Yes, so I was able to attend my first, just finding the right tab, my first meeting of the Massachusetts Human Rights Commission group, or rather Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition. And I had often, as Shilpa served on this committee with us, I'd often heard about it, but I got to experience it. And it was really fantastic a week ago. So this is a coalition of about 50 municipal human rights and relations commissions from across the state. And it was, I was about to say wild, but like in a really great way, right? It was just being on this Zoom with people all across the state who were just incredibly passionate about the work that they were doing in their own communities. And so it felt like kind of this like instant friend group. And at the same time, we were talking about incredibly sobering issues. So there was a presentation from a team from UMass Boston, and it was fairly extensive, and it was about a database in which you can report hate crimes anonymously. And there's more information available to me and to the committee on this, which I'd be happy to share if this is piquing any interest. And then I also just had left these tabs open when I saved it. I was really struck from Melrose. So there are 3 documents that I left open, and they come from the Melrose Human Rights Commission, and it just says they work closely with the City of Melrose leadership and partners to address issues of human and civil rights, reinforces a positive atmosphere in the community, and amplifies and promotes organizations and people working to make Melrose one community open to all, which is really fantastic, and which a lot of us in this room, hopefully all of us, are committed to doing here in Danvers. And so it just was encouraging to know, like, there are these other groups around the state. So the Melrose Human Rights Commission, they were sharing out some new resource guides. So there were 3. I'll just name them. Again, it just kind of was, the committee will be looking at them, but just the thought, like, oh, we should maybe develop something like this in Danvers. So we have the Melrose shared out a legal and civil rights resource guide, an LGBTQ plus resource guide, and an immigration and refugee resource guide. So just a proactive nature. So yeah, it was just really powerful. It just felt very powerful in that they were sharing these resources and this information. And yeah, there were a number of different people on the call, and to find out also how the commission or committee in each town is staffed and supported by the town was also really powerful to find out about. And we have a position that's open here in this town, and so it was just really wonderful to see what other towns, the resources they're putting into the position, and how that position in that respective position in other towns is kind of working and helping their commissions to navigate through these times when federally the work that we're doing is not made any easier. So it was great to know what's happening in other communities, and for us to continue to work for that position to be restaffed again in Danvers sooner rather than later.
Thank you. I wanted to also make a point to mention that today is Transgender Day of Remembrance and Resilience. It's the day that we're honoring the lives lost and the commitment to action for transgender. We want to hold space for the grief and the collective commitment to that community. So just acknowledging that is today, and we hold space for that. I also wanted to mention that there have been some conversations in our committee as we were talking about some of the food insecurity that's going on. We started having a conversation about community fridge opportunities in Danvers, and the fact that our town does not have a community fridge. And if you're not familiar with community fridge or what it is, Somerville, Cambridge, some larger towns will have community fridges, which don't necessarily have to be refrigerated, but shelf-stable items in a fridge in outdoor areas where people can access them without the stigma of going into a pantry, without the stigma of having to put your name down on a form or hand a card or whatever. It just feels a little less scary, okay? So with that conversation, I did ask the community, hey, are there any partners that we could potentially have? And a few people mentioned potentially reaching out to the library, which I did. So I reached out to the library, and the library has interest. However, they have to go through their channels, which are going to the trustees first. I believe they said they needed to get a vote of approval there, and then they needed to also get approval from DPW. Anything that would remain on their site, they would have to go through DPW for that. But they are interested in potentially partnering to put out at least one community fridge, and hopefully more than one in our town. So that is very promising. The conversation is very early, so it's not yet at the point where we would be looking for financial support, but I would at some point be asking, hopefully, for friends to provide some sort of support, hopefully minimal, so that we could get it going and continue to have some partners in the town, donations and things of that nature. But it struck me that people might not even want to go ask for something just because of the stigma, and that other communities have already thought about that, and removing that barrier I thought was extremely important for Danvers. So that's an ongoing conversation that we're having, and we'll have more to come in future meetings about that. Does anybody else want to share any new business? Go ahead, Paul. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, can you pass that, please? Thank you. There you go.
Last night I had the pleasure of going to the Danvers High School open house with my good friend, Dr. Joyko. So we met at the event, and Dee, if you want to add on anything I have to say, please feel free, if chair permitting. It was a great event, I thought. In my mind, it was the second time I think they've had this type of event. Now, they may have had other kinds of events, and I think they're just trying to let those of the parents in town with children at the middle school, letting them know what is available in all sorts of activities, academics, clubs, athletics. I think every aspect of what's going on at the high school somehow was mentioned, and I didn't get a lot of these. I get this one, and it was really eye-opening. I went last year, and it's improved this year, to say the least. The program started in the auditorium. The principal spoke, the superintendent of schools spoke. I believe 7 graduating seniors spoke, and they each had maybe a different take on things or activities, whether it be athletics, academics, clubs, and things like that. And they also mentioned, most of them mentioned where they were going to school upon graduation, and that was also very impressive, too. But I will say this, I thought the highlight of the whole presentation in the auditorium was the 5-minute preview, I guess, of the musical that's being presented this weekend. I think it's on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night. And I was all excited about it. I mean, I'm saying I almost went out and bought a couple of tickets, but I'm trying to convince my wife, if you're listening, to go. But I mean, it was really. I thought it was in a Broadway play. On Broadway. These I don't know. They're not children. They're not youngsters, and they're not kids. These professionals did very well, very well. And then from there, I walked around, and they had all kinds of activities in classrooms, and anything from robotics to arts and crafts, and then they had the Vi gym was filled up with all kinds of tables representing different clubs, organizations, et cetera. And then there was another whole, I think it was a setup down in the field house that centered mostly about academics. But believe me, there are things that are going on at Danvers High School. And it's nice to talk about something good for a change, but there are things that are going on at that school that are not totally available to every student in the North Shore or at other high schools around here in this area and even the state. They've got some real great programs that are available to students that would help all students post-graduation. And not being an academician, I can't explain all that to you, but it really sounded great. Dee, anything? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, can I add?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there too. But I didn't stick around for the
play.
No, the play. The play was awesome. It's Hadestown.
Hadestown, yeah.
So it was really good, but I didn't stick around for the afterwards because, as I told you, I don't have kids in the system anymore. So when I didn't want to explain to people that I was there, representing the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, yada, yada, yada. And, just an unaccompanied man walking around a high school just kind of feels weird. It does. It does. I mean,
You got to sit alone like me and no
well,
one
I mean,
bothers me.
but you're a grandpa, and that's different. But,
It's 4th generation.
but the academic thing, I must say, was really impressive. It was very, I mean, I understand it was supposed to be, really rah, rah, rah. And after the principal was done, I wanted to go mess things up because it was exciting.
Great.
The things that they're doing with all these National Honor Societies that they have, they're bringing one in, I think, for business that is the only one in the state. So it was really cool. And the kids, they had these 7 kids that came up there, and they were all, exemplary, academic. They weren't going to put a bunch of slackers up there. They weren't. But there was these kids who were really, go-getters, and obviously, you hope that your child would be like that. Mine weren't, but there's an opportunity. There's always hope that your children, given the right soil, will bloom like that. So yes, it was really cool. I enjoyed it. So I don't know. I don't know why people would not send their kids to school. I mean, I do have some reason why people would not send their kids to Danvers High, unfortunately. But for the academics, it sounds like it would be the place to be on the North Shore.
Thank you. Anybody else for new business?
If I may, Madam Chair, not so much new business, but I was sitting and thinking about what Dr. Charlie said regarding the grant. And as evident tonight, we also here in the room and those folks at home, that there's some things in front of us that we need to address. And like Karen said earlier, this town has a lot of potential, but we have to harness that potential. And what great way to do that is through the grant. And tomorrow morning, if you folks are around the Danvers area and you go to the local grocery store, you're going to find a flyer for the grant with a QR code. You grab your camera phone, you use it to scan the code, and that'll lead you to the application. Because once again, as you all saw tonight, there's a lot of things to be done in Danvers. And by basically letting your voice be heard with your idea or project or anything, and to move the town forward, that's what we want to hear. That's what the grant is all about. That's what we're here for. So again, as you also, we need a lot of good ideas. We need everyone to come up with a little bit of an ingenious way for us to improve quality of life in the town, and basically to make it equal for everybody. Because at the end, we're all human, everybody. We all do the same things, and we all deserve the same rights. So go apply to the grant. We'll make it accessible, and hopefully you can come up with ideas to make our town improve it, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. And as you were talking, I was reminded, I thank you for jogging my memory. It was posted for those of you that are on Facebook. Anyone who is looking for a meal on Thanksgiving Day, Maple Street Church right here in Danvers is going to be serving free Thanksgiving breakfast. No charge, no questions asked. If you want to go with your family, you're welcome to. If anybody is not familiar with Maple Street Church, they're right downtown. Google it, but tell a friend. There's somebody in need that doesn't want to say anything, that they are serving free breakfast on Thanksgiving Day. All right, so with that, I am going to call to adjourn our meeting. I move to, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.